The fuck? What? What's with that music? Oh, yeah. Oh, so good. I'm sorry, I can't read. I have to dance. No, oh, Makusa, could you turn that off? Way too cheery for me. I have to look angry all the time. Oops, my bad. You don't like Mzaki. I'm just not in the mood. Boring. Amakusa turned the radio off. The world of cheery sounds was immediately swallowed up by the roar of the sea and blotted out by the ocean's grey. Can you see it? Oh, well, that's where the harbor was at the time. The boat captain pointed, but I couldn't really recall that scene of 12 years ago. I thought I'd surely be able to immediately remember how things had been at the time. But no memories came back to me. After that incident, the island was sealed off and left to the wild. I couldn't satisfy myself with the thought that this was just inevitable, and it felt sad and painful for some reason. But I at least remember one thing. You might say that I'd probably be the same anywhere on the sea, but I remember at least one thing. The cries of the seagulls. Umineko. I do remember those. When I was young, I rarely went to the ocean, so everything that symbolized the ocean meant Rokkanjima and a family gathering to me. In short, it was a symbol for the happiness of going out with my family. However, at this point in time, it seems doubtful whether that even was happiness. In my younger days, the trip had felt like a relaxed family vacation, but considering my parents' situation at the time, it was surely a very difficult trip to handle, with the distribution of the inheritance filling the place with the smell of gunpowder. I can remember giggling all over the place, completely ignorant of my parents' feelings. Rokkanjima, place of all beginnings, and the end of the line for all journeys. Amakusa, in an attempt to speak from my innermost feelings, tried to sound cool. Yeah, look at him, he also tries to look cool. The emphasis is on tries. The boat slowly rounded the island. I hoped that viewing it at a different angle might bring back my memories of the island silhouette at the time just a little, but in the end, even when that inlet was hidden completely by cliffs, I wasn't able to remember anything. Captain, please tell me about that other harbor you mentioned. Other harbor? Sure. Rokkanjima supposedly has only one harbor, but there's only for public appearances. On the back of the island there's another hidden harbor. Like Rokkanjima itself, it has a second face which no one knows about. Rokkanjima is an island owned by the Shirome family, but it has another face as an island owned by Kinzo-san personally. So this island has two harbors and two mansions, and he sure spent a lot just to keep it mistress. Who knew about this other harbor? Very few. Kinzo-san, the butler, Genji-san, and those of us involved with the boats, and a very small number of the oldest servants. Both the previous owner of the Nanjo Clinic and that Kumasawa-ba-san knew. Naming them off like this makes it sound like there were quite a few, but basically there was a small number of people who know. Yeah, they apparently didn't have the time to make a new one. Please tell me about that other mansion. I was only told that there was a mansion called Kuwadorian, and since I wasn't allowed to leave the boat, I never saw it, not even once. Yeah, but compared to the other original sprites, he actually looks quite okay. If you compare to that. So it was far enough away that you couldn't see it from the harbor? I don't know, but it was a hidden mansion after all. It was probably built where you couldn't see it from the outside. Anyway, Kuwadorian was the biggest secret of that island. There's a theory that Beatrice lived in Kuwadorian or else was confined there. What do you think, Captain? I did sometimes carry miscellaneous goods to Kuwadorian, and that included a lot of stuff that only women would use, and expensive stuff at that. I'm also convinced the theory is true. So does that mean you never saw Beatrice directly, Captain? Nope. Came and went for about 20 years and I never saw her once. 20 years? Well, that means she was at least 20 plus. Looks like she wasn't some mademoiselle. But one day, bang, all coming and going to her from Kuwadorian suddenly stopped. That was about 30 years ago. So around Showa 43, 1968, I think. Bang? You mean suddenly? We came to the hidden side on a set schedule to carry food and trash back and forth. Right, the hidden side is what we call the harbor linked to Kuwadorian. I get it. So then? I guess that's when she fell from the cliff? One day we got an urgent message from Genji-san. He said that until we heard differently, there was no need for us to go to the hidden side anymore. And did you hear differently? No, really. Long story short, one day I was suddenly told that they wouldn't need regular service to the hidden side anymore and that I didn't have to take food there either. At first I thought I was being fired, but I quickly figured it out. Going by the reactions of the servants who knew of aRdW, I managed to guess somehow. Beatrice died and there was no longer any need to take food or people to care for her. That's what I think. From that point on, I was never told to take a boat to the hidden side. However, after that, Genji-san came to see me face to face and got pushy, strongly urging me never to speak of anything related to the hidden side until I died. Oops, you're doing that right now, though. Well, okay, Genji's already dead anyway. So if that hidden mansion was abandoned for 20 whole years, why was Aunt Eva there? On that day 12 years ago, Ushidome Eva somehow escaped harm alone in a hidden mansion 2 kilometers away from the mansion. Why was she in a hidden mansion that had been forgotten for 20 years? Oh, I saw in the talk shows. You now don't have a clue what happened. Not once did I guide Eva-san to the hidden side. I have no idea how or why she knew about to reach aRdW. I wonder if it was possible to reach this hidden aRdW on the land. If, as we heard, the forest was dense and uncultivated, I seriously doubt a well-dressed lady person would be able to crash it. Well, we've seen in this episode that there was a secret connection between the two mansions, so she probably used that. So what about by sea? Maybe there was a motorboat or something. Are you kidding? That 2-nighter typhoon was awful. No way you could have used a boat. So what if there was an underground passage or something between the mansion and aRdW? Wouldn't it have been a pain to have to charter a boat each time he wanted to visit his mistress's house? You mean a tunnel long enough to connect mansions on opposite sides of a 2-kilometer island like Rokkenjima? Well, I'd like to laugh at the thought, but this rich guy made a whole hidden mansion for his mistress, so I guess I can't deny the possibility. What do you think, Captain? I'm a man of the sea. I don't know about holes. But the Japanese military dug a 25-kilometer tunnel on Iwo Jima. Wouldn't surprise me if that Kinzo-san could dig at least 2 kilometers. There really is something wrong with this island. Even now, not one of us really knows a thing about it. The boat reached the shore. They would have to walk a short ways to reach the mansion. Oh, wait here. The mansion's that way. The path from back then is probably still there, but I'll bet it's covered with plants. Make sure you don't get lost. Right, let's go.
Thanks for everything, Hamukusa. You wait here too.
Well, I had a feeling you'd say that.
I'm just delivering something. It'll be troublesome for them if you come too. I imagine your toxin is strong.
Toxin? Uh-huh.
I'll be back soon. Today our main goal is aRdW. After I deliver this, I'll come right back.
Angie put on her knapsack, holding the flowers she would offer. Give her some space, young one. See you soon, little lady. Your family's waiting for you. I wonder. I have a bad feeling about her going there. Maybe she goes there now and then something crazy happens and that's the end of episode 4. I had never been on a road like this, but I had no trouble finding my way. If I walked straight ahead, it would probably guide me to the final destination for everything. It was true that the vegetation was incredibly thick, and if I didn't pay attention I would lose track of the path. But the road that was left was much clearer than I had guessed it would be. Still, that didn't change the fact that it was a bad road. Contrary to the distance shown on the map, I was forced to walk a long way. The forest was deep and dark. At the time I had been threatened into staying away from the forest because a witch lived there. Of course that fear is gone now, but I feel it. Because I was me, I could feel the presence like an aura of the golden witch Beatrice. Here and there were massive fallen lumps of rock along with overgrown trees and ivy, and the voices of birds and bugs. Yeah, I feel it. I feel that the witch is here. Ahead, an ivy-covered construction site fence and warning sign stood. No entry, Tokyo Metropolis. That was written on it. Yeah, that's right. When you think Tokyo, you tend to think of a city, but Rokkenjima is also located within the Tokyo Metropolis. Apologizing to the sign for my rude mistake, I climbed the fence. When I crossed the sleep slope. Exactly, when I crossed the sleep slope. The steep slope beyond that, my field of vision rapidly expanded, and a fresh sea breeze blew through my hair. It was like the top of a little hill. Below me was a vast view of the island. I could only see desolated forests and rock walls spread out below me, but I realized that the mansion was probably somewhere around there. The steep downward slope beyond this hill had probably been caused by earth and rocks collapsing from 12 years of wind and rain.
had become a slant filled with crags that you might even call gentle cliffs, and it would be easy to tumble down, though it looked like climbing back would be pretty difficult. In any event, it seemed that proceeding any further would be impossible. If I continued any further, I wouldn't be able to return. In other words, this is the border. This place is 1986 and 1998, and it is that day and today. The boundary between this world and Nirvana. This spot is this journey's final destination, it seems. As the strong winds blew Mamon's and Sakutaro's hair, they looked down from the hilltop. From here, I can't really tell. Where's the mansion? Let's get closer.
Udu, that's impossible. Yeah, he was a lion at first, so I gave him that voice, but then he turned into a little boy. Don't ask. But I refused to give him a new voice, so now that's his voice. Also, I have one here as well. Just found it and it fit the scene. That's impossible. We won't be able to come back. Yeah.
We won't be able to come back? Is that it? I see. This is 1998, and I am the Ushidomiya Ainji who has been left all alone. At first this was a journey to die, but not anymore. It's become a journey to accomplish something. Yeah, so I'm sorry, you two. Although, as I was back then on that day, I would have gone down that cliff without any hesitation. Come on, this is pretty lame for this skyscraper jumping Ushidomiya Ainji. Sorry.
I thought I threw something down when I picked up the lion, but I didn't. This place is as good as any. After all, you can feel the wind of that day.
Was the wind really like this?
Yeah. Very soon they will come. Everyone.
Sakutaro said it as though it was completely natural, and I believed it. Dad, Mom, Oni-chan, all of my relatives and those fun servants, and Maria Oni-chan. It's me. It's Ainji. I've come back. When I started my journey to expose the past of 12 years ago, my goal had been abstract and I hadn't understood. But now I have no doubts. This journey was induced by several thoughts and fates over 12 years. A journey to reach an end for me, Ushidomiya Ainji, and a journey to reach... is something missing there? A journey reach an end as the last witch of Mariacho's year? To reach an end, maybe? I came here as the last daughter of the Ushidomiya family, and as the last witch. Dad, Mom, Oni-chan, sorry. Let me greet Maria Oni-chan first. A strong tailwind urged me on. That tailwind took just my soul out from inside my body to the vast forest beneath me, and though from here on I couldn't see, I believed that it flew me to the mansion on that day, to where everyone was, to where Maria Oni-chan was. And so, even though my body was on the top of a hill, a strong wind blowing against me, my soul was now certainly dancing through that sky. The vast, vast sky of Rokkenjiman. Below me was the green of many trees, but I understand. I can comprehend the presences of my family and relatives and all the servants, and Maria Oni-chan too. I could even comprehend Maria Oni-chan as a witch. It was vast, more so than any vast space I had imagined up until now. Maria Oni-chan, can you hear me? Listen. Angie called to the Maria of that day. She told her of the long journey she had undergone, of her long-delayed realization of just how much she'd wounded Maria in her youth. She understood magic and now understood everything about the world Maria had wanted to show her. It was very warm, overflowing with love and happiness. She wanted to become even happier by sharing that world, but I trampled it. So now I finally understand everything. Yeah, I don't. I understand magic. Our magic is surely very faint and fills the space beside us, but it isn't something that anyone can see with their eyes.
Well, I mean, but it's called the questions arc for a reason, right?
Magic is, yes, I can say it clearly. Without love, it cannot be seen. Sorry, One-chan, I've already been excommunicated from the Alliance of Witches, but now I understand how wonderful it is. And I know that after the day I wounded you, Mariage Saucier was transfigured into something different from what you truly desired. Even the magic that spat anger by cursing people was probably important to One-chan in those days. One-chan's environment was sad enough to permit that. But now, those sad days are over, so let's return One-chan's Alliance of Witches back to the original Mariage Saucier. The grimoire was in my hands before I realized it. The strong winds were rapidly blowing its pages on one after another. That world had been kind in the beginning.
How could you give birth to magic that would make candy fall from the sky? How could you give birth to magic that would make tomorrow's dinner cream croquette? How could you give birth to magic that would make the weather good when you went out the next day, making your whole day fun? New spells of happiness were created one after another, coloring her world with kindness. Those days were flipped through one after another, and months began to flash by. The pages of the drawings that had once been colorful gradually began to change into the color of black ink. Eerie magic circles and demon summonings, evil magic for harming people. How could you give birth to magic that would cause the class bully to catch a cold? Could you give birth to magic that would seriously injure someone in class so that they died? How could you give birth to magic that would cause a bus loaded with all the bullies to fall off a cliff? Okay. Belicious spells were created one after another, burying the pages in her heart. Because I heard Onechan, Maria Saucier, ended up like this. Onechan isn't a black evil witch. She was a white, pure, innocent, kind witch. I'll return it to how it was. I'll bring back the original Maria Onechan, the one who scattered magic to make people happy across the entire world. That's the reason I came here. I was guided by fate. Maria Onechan, can you hear me? Show yourself before me. That voice rode an even stronger wind and was sent 12 years into the past. Then the wind gradually ceased and silence fell. I could hear the sound of gravel being stepped on. I listened to those footsteps, surprised at this miracle. Without a doubt, those were Maria Onechan's footsteps. Maria! Okay, that caught me off guard. Completely. Just FYI, she wants to kidnap Angie and torture her forever or something. I think she wanted her to she wanted to cut off her limbs and everything and then have her used by other people, if you know what I mean. It's Kasumi. Looks like I finally found you, Angie-san. Before I knew it, Aunt Kasumi and her black suits, a total of 7 people who didn't resemble Maria Onechan in the slightest, were standing there surrounding me. And it felt like my voice had been just about to reach Maria Onechan too. Because of these guys' toxin, that magic was cut off. Angie clicked her tongue at that, but Kasumi probably didn't hear it that way. Those flowers for your deceased family? How admirable. You're going to throw them, right? Go ahead, we'll wait that long. Just what are you waiting for? But Angie could more or less guess. The way the black suits unnaturally stuck their hands into their pockets clearly brought to mind the likelihood that they had handguns. This is a deserted island. There could be no more convenient place to dispose of someone. I have absolutely no interest in the family matters of the Sumadera family, but if I die, all that wealth will go to them. And like me, they're probably very interested and concerned about this matter. Of course, it seems that if the massive amounts of stock I own suddenly go to them, it will be pretty bad for the Yoshidomiya group as well. And they're apparently having a secret feud, fighting over me all by themselves. That's probably why President Okonogi gave me Amakusa as a guard. Having Amakusa wait on the boat was a regrettable mistake. Aunt Kasumi, how long have you been waiting for this ambush? Since early morning. Thanks to that, I'm completely tired of waiting. After all, there are no cafes or dressing rooms here. No toilets either, so I guess you had to elegantly drop a load behind a tree. A lady with half Sumadera blood flowing through her veins will not use such filthy words. You really are Sumadera curious, child. Not a trace of grace. She grabbed me by the hair and forced my face up to hers, and then spat at me. My words might be filthy, but they're no worse than her spit. Every time you talk to me, Aunt Kasumi, it's always about Mom. Am I really that much like my mother? Yes, you are. That impertinent gaze. Your mouth and nose are the same too. Freewheeling and irresponsible. She thought nothing of the long history and tradition of the Sumadera family and selfishly flew out of the house. My entire life has been devoted to cleaning up that mess. I guess your life really has been covered with crap. Oh. When I was slapped on the cheek, my ear was smashed, and for an instant my head rang. My hair was pulled, spinning me around, and I fell to the ground. And in a flash, the ground was kicked, and I was struck with sand. Yes, you truly are like Nissan. That gaze like you're mocking me somehow. Yes, I remember so many things. You're a sad person. I bet that since you were young, you always get compared to Mom and scorned. And for your entire life, you'll never be released from that wretchedness. A little girl like you couldn't possibly understand. You see your mother is a loser who threw everything away and ran away from the Sumadera family, right?
Do you know how much trouble I went through because of that loser? Any trouble you went through has nothing to do with me. Sorry, but what am I supposed to do about something that happened before I was born? When will your life begin? It never will. For all eternity, you'll always continue to be sneered at by my dead mother until you die. If only you just die. Why are you living? Oh, she opened her eyes. You little piss. You all... Make her some tea. Uh-oh. It's not good. She always mentioned tea when she actually meant torture.
Leave it to us. You big mouth shitty brat. Let's teach you a little lesson.
The black suits dashed up to me, violently grabbed me by the nape of the neck and dragged me down. Do whatever you want to until my break is over. Teach my cute niece your place. Sumadera Kasumi. When I think about it, she was a pitiable person. To the outside world, women of the Sumadera family were trained to be in a position that supported and deferred to men. But in actuality, strong leadership was required from them so that they could manage all the common people. The role demanded of them really was that of a female commander, like a literal reading of the word okami. Managing the Sumadera family with all its traditions was not something that could be accomplished with just an ordinary level of dignity. It was an unimaginably heavy responsibility. Normally this would have been demanded of Kiria. Kiria had undergone that harsh training, and Kasumi, as the younger sister, should have been able to take it easy. No, on the contrary, she had lived like a lazy, selfish, and affluent princess, sneering at Kiria, who had been given the heavy responsibility. However, Kiria had suddenly been disinherited. She had refused the fiancé her parents had arranged, and had gotten pregnant by her lover, Ushiromiya Rudolph. From the Sumadera's perspective, even though the Ushiromiya family held a vast fortune, it was a low-level family that had already collapsed, and to become not even a legal wife but a mistress to the second son of that family. Normally a daughter of the main family would be shown no mercy for such dishonor. They would wrap her up in a mat, place a pole at one end, and throw her either into the Pacific Ocean if the pole fell to the right, or the Sea of Japan if it fell to the left. You know, that's... I gotta hand it to them. That's a pretty creative way of trying to decide how to kill somebody. But Kiria's punishment ended with disinheritance, an unbelievably warm-hearted decision. After that, the Sumadera family began receiving favorable treatment from a section of the Ushiromiya group. There must have been some kind of backroom deal. In other words, Kiria openly left the Sumadera family under the pretense of gaining financial support from the Ushiromiya family. Kasumi had watched it happen in shock. No, she even disparaged her dishonorable sister as a loser, but eventually, she realized that the heavy responsibilities Kiria had borne would be passed on to her. Well, sucks for you. And then for the first time she saw that she had been outwitted. Because of your mother, my life was ruined. No, you could even say she killed me once. On that day I was killed once and thrown into a hellish life. Isn't that what you get for making light of life until then? Don't you ever stop talking, girl. Yeah. Oh, I guess that was one of the black suits. Do you know talking to him? The black suit punched me in the gut, and I doubled over. But I was quickly grabbed by the nape of the neck and made to stand up again. Kasumi cold-heartedly looked down at me, smoking a cigarette. The painful days after Kiria had left were floating through her mind. Wouldn't it be awesome if just in this moment Amakusa snipes her from the beach? Like she's just standing there smoking a cigarette and suddenly the whole fucking head explodes and blood and splatter everywhere, and then she just drops like a log to the side. That would be cool. Well, not for her, but for the rest. The painful days after Kiria left were falling through her mind. Until then, she had been allowed to be a simple lady, freewheeling and naive. Only the older sister, Kiria, had been harshly trained, and she, the younger sister, had been able to live as nothing more than a princess. Then suddenly everything got flipped over and her life came crashing down. Welcome to reality, bitch. My life, lifestyle, and the way I lived were all stolen from me. Do you know how much I was derided by those relatives who didn't know the details? All because of my sister's dishonor. I detested her. I detested your mother enough to make me spit blood. Glad to hear it. Keep up the good work. A kick landed in Angie's side as she crawled on the ground. Angie didn't stand up again, so she continued to lie there like a caterpillar as she was kicked each time she spoke up. I saw Nesan at a Ushiromiya group party once. She was with her husband, looking very happy and laughing. She pushed everything onto me and found happiness only for herself. So what? How is taking it out on me going to make you happy? Will taking it out on me turn back time and change history or something? You said something a short while ago. When will my life start? No matter how much I despise you or take out my frustrations on you, I can't turn back time. So must I keep hating my sister even though she's gone until I die? Gotta be kidding me. How long will I have to be tormented by my sister's ghost? So I thought of something. If I could accomplish one thing, I'd be able to forget all of my hatred and start over. Angie was about to lash back out at her, but stopped, because she'd be kicked again if he responded. Even if Kasumi didn't say anymore, Angie had a pretty good idea what she meant. Kasumi thought that by taking revenge against Kiria's daughter, Angie, she'd be able to put an end to her hatred. Talk about pushing her problems onto other people. Come on, stand up. If you like this island that much, I'll bury you deep in it. You don't want to die at your age, right? Don't you feel like saying sorry my mother caused you so much trouble or something? Who'd say something like that? Angie! Angie-sama, no. You mustn't provoke them. You should at least make it seem like you're going all along with them so you can buy some time. They often say that you should throw your foolish pride out with the garbage. Oh, what about Amakusa-san? If Amakusa-san comes, I'm sure... It's no use, I can't see him. You idiot, Angie-sama. Why did you leave Amakusa behind? I didn't need Maman to tell me. I was seriously regretting it already. I walked a long way. The forest was very thick. I've got no doubts that signs of activity here won't reach the boat. During the time it took for Kasumi to finish casually smoking an old cigarette, I was continuously tormented by the black suits, as she had told them to. The moment I grabbed at my head, my scalp was kicked by someone at a bad angle and my head was filled with stars. The feeling of stars flickering in this grey, twisted world was one I remembered clearly. My life was very similar to the one Sumadera Kasumi led. After all, as the successor to the Yoshidomiya family, I was tormented constantly with various kinds of bullying under the guise of education and training. Yes, having the inside of my head filled with stars like this is a feeling I know well. When being reprimanded for some error in the manners I seem to have made, the discussion always turned to whether I was fitting to be the successor or not. On and on about the honor of the Yoshidomiya family and how deep that was. By the time the conversation reached that point, I had forgotten what mistake I was being blamed for in the first place. No, in fact, it was the same for Aunt Eva. After all, sometimes she'd ask herself, oh, what was it again? Man, she looks not healthy in that picture. But in the end, she wouldn't be able to remember and would say something like, if I'm angry, it must be your fault, Angie. The fact that you're at fault is what matters, so who cares if I can't remember what it was you did? There'd be some ridiculous reasoning like that, and then she'd keep on punishing me. Yes, Aunt Eva's punishment wasn't something that would continue until I learned something or acknowledged my mistake or apologized. It would continue until Aunt Eva wanted to stop. So this violence was a bit nostalgic in a way that made me want to vomit. I opened my eyes, and look, there's Aunt Eva. Man, she looks mentally stable. Right next to Kasumi, who's smoking a cigarette. I can see Aunt Eva almost as though the two of them are laughing together. When I think about it, even Aunt Eva's life might be a thing worthy of my sympathy. The responsibility and pressure of being a member of the Yoshidomiya family, which she often mentioned to me, had probably caused her great pain. After all, people can't make insults that they've never been the targets of themselves. It was probably the same for Aunt Rosa as well. As the youngest child of the Honorable Yoshidomiya family, she must have gone through many tough times. Gut gesagt, Christian. So it was just like what Aunt Eva did to me. Just like what Sumadera Kasumi is doing now, Aunt Rosa must have been the same. People tend to push the pain they're burdened with onto other people. Otherwise, they can never escape from that pain. So on and on, in eternity and perpetuity, the chain of pain and sadness does not end. That's why Maria Onechan's magic was so incredible. With her magic, she didn't have to bear the pain caused by Aunt Rosa. The pain probably was pushed onto her. Its weight probably tormented her, but Onechan didn't carry that burden on her own shoulders. She purified it and filled her world with happiness. So I'm sure, if Maria Onechan had had children in the future, she probably wouldn't have pushed the pain that had been forced on her onto her children. That chain of pain and sadness that stretched back for who knows how long, which she couldn't understand or which she had inherited, which had been forced onto her, Maria Onechan cut it with her magic. What's wrong? Got a bone to pick with me? In the past, I would have snapped back. I would have met her hatred with hatred so that it'd cancel each other out. No, nothing got cancelled out, actually. The thing being forced on me ended her right there on my shoulders. Just like how even now, I hate her. So now that I know of magic, I'll look at this human called Yoshidomiya Eva again. What I could see through to was a sad human form, no different from me, who had lost her family and who bore deep wounds in her heart. Unable to withstand the pain of that torn heart, she was doing nothing more than howl sadly, like a lion crying in pain, like a child. Even Ushiromiya Eva was someone I should have felt compassion for. She needed someone to understand the difficulties and pain of her childhood years. Even she, who was the only survivor of the Rokkenjima crime, who was faced with the curiosity of all of society, who was publicly slandered and forced to have salt continually flung into the wound, had needed someone's compassion. In order to let Eva forget her pain and sadness at least a little, the Black Witch taught her magic, just like the times it had possessed Aunt Rosa. It was the same magic of anger and sadness that Beatrice had taught Maria Onecha when she was mourning for her torn-apart friend Sakutaro. That same magic, that witch, had probably dwelled inside Aunt Rosa too. So I mustn't hate Oshirumiya Eva. Maybe I should have become her ally, as the only person in the world who could understand her. What did I say to her when I was young, when she returned alive all alone? Could it be that I acted as though she had killed my family and returned on her own? I can't believe it. Aunt Eva, who has never been more than an object of, and a synonym for hatred throughout my life, is turning into a human I can understand. So, I can see, right next to Aunt Eva, the form of the Black Witch who taught her the black magic. Aunt Eva was crying. It was only natural. Not only was no one willing to understand the pain of losing her husband and son at once, but her only relative had insulted her, saying, "Give me back my dad and mom." I can make the excuse that I was merciless because of my youth. However, to her at the time, it had probably been cruel enough to sever the last thread in her heart. In the following days, the talk shows and magazines publicly slandered her. The truth of her husband's business and character, and even her beloved son, were negated. She no longer had anything left. She could do nothing but cry and howl, trying to forget the pain and sadness, at least for a while. After all, she could only feel a tiny bit of release, and only during the time that she howled, and so the Black Witch taught her how to howl. The one I hated was the Black Witch. Black magic can probably release one from that pain for an instant. However, it never lifts that weight from a person's shoulders. On the contrary, it forces that weight onto further victims, filling the world with hatred. If only Aunt Eva knew of white magic and had a true witch nearby, should that have been me? Didn't I learn the magic to create happiness from Maria Onechan? If I had taught her with that magic, could we have built a future with a completely different relationship? Up until now, I have hated Aunt Eva constantly, so I didn't notice the Black Witch beside her. Without love, it could not be seen. I didn't have any love for her, so now finally, I'll glare at the Black Witch, the one I truly should hate.
Oh? What's this? You can see me.
I see you. The one I should have hated wasn't Aunt Eva. It's you.
Whoa, awesome. To think that a lowly human could see a witch like me. So, are you trying to say something with that glare? Do you hate me?
Hate? Yes, I do. But that's not quite it. I just think you're sad.
Sad? What are you saying? Come on, go ahead. Why not hate me as much as you want?
I won't hate. Hating you means I'm doing nothing more than inheriting Aunt Eva's hatred. I'll put a stop to hatred. I'll accept Aunt Eva's pain, purify it, and throw it away.
What kind of epiphany do you think you've had? Is your head alright? Seriously, if only you just give up and die. You guys kick her more and more, okay? Not her face, though. Because it'd be boring if her pitiful face got any better.
The black suits persistently kicked my stomach and back, as though they had been ordered to by the Black Witch.
My, you're still not suffering after all that. You keep staring right at me. Do you hate me? I'll bet you do. Same here.
Kasumi sneered at me, but for some reason I had the feeling that she was crying behind that expression. Just like me, the pain of being forced into an unreasonable life would never ever heal. The sad lion, gasping in pain from the thorn he can't get out, continues to howl.
Hey, Sumadera Kasumi, take a look. Over there, it's you as you used to be. Don't you feel better now? You used to be standing there, but now you're on this side, right? Isn't it great? Don't you like having the roles switched? Yes, it really is great. How can you make that kind of face, Angie? Go on and cry, you want to, right? Yes, of course she wants to cry. Make her cry. Didn't someone make you cry back then? So make her cry too. You too, Angie. If only you just break down and cry. Cry, Angie. I want to see your crying face. Cry and try saying I'm sorry on Kasumi. Yes, make her say those words. Aren't those words painful? Isn't being made to apologize for something that isn't your fault just the worst pain? Make her feel the same way. By doing that, you can relieve your pain. Yeah, that's it. Be a little more honest with yourself, okay? If only you just let your emotions run free more and more and more.
The Black Witch provoked Kasumi, and Kasumi began to give herself over to that dark emotion by turning deep sadness into an evil alcohol and forcing it down, trying to forget it for just an instant. Nothing would change. The words Kasumi insulted me with were themselves sad, and I couldn't forgive the Black Witch who had imposed that sadness on Kasumi. I had gone limp, which seemed to have stopped the Black Suit's kicking competition, or maybe the kickers were getting tired too. Kasumi didn't order them to stop, but at some point they did. However, I was reflected in Kasumi's eyes, and they burned me with the flames of hatred. She had been tempted by the witch to do that in order to relieve her own pain.
So, my dear Kasumi, you aren't done yet. You've got much more trampling to do, right? Can you forgive what happened to your entire life with just a little violence?
I can't. I still can't forgive her with just this.
Right? There's no way you can forgive her. Do it more. More of the flames of hatred. Nothing can warm me except the fires of hate. After being frozen in the snowfields of anger and sadness, the only flame that can warm me is hatred. Say it, okay? Scream it. If only you just burn yourself to ashes with the roar of hate. Oshinomiya Angie, I cannot live without hating you.
Yeah, as I said, she seems mentally stable. Sumadera Kasumi, look at that bundle of flowers. These flowers are for your dead family, right, Angie? Oh, that's still the Black Witch grinned at me unpleasantly, using her chin to signal Kasumi to pick it up. Kasumi picked up the flowers I was going to offer, brought them all the way over to me, dropped them, and made a show of trampling them. Her expression was filled with hatred and a frantic quality that couldn't be explained with hatred alone. She trampled them over and over again as though her sadness were reaching the bursting point. So the sound of her trampling it was just sad.
Oh, still not suffering yet? Then what about this? Sumadera Kasumi, use this. No, not that.
Uh-oh. The object the Black Witch pointed at was Maria One-chan's grimoire. Kasumi also noticed it and picked up that book, which was heavier than it looked. What's this?
Why not read it? You might fall over laughing, okay?
Kasumi opened the grimoire, skimmed over the contents, and snorted derisively. Give it back. That's One-chan's. Of course my hand couldn't reach. My stomach was once again kicked by the black suits, and I doubled over.
See, this book is really important to Angie, right? Gotta belittle the things that are important to her, okay? That'll work better than punching or kicking for a girl like her. You know that better than anyone, don't you?
As though remembering something painful, Kasumi's face twisted for an instant, but that quickly disappeared, changing into a scornful smile directed at me.
Oh, what a creepy book. Did you write this?
Stop it, give it back.
Look at that face. Belittle it more, belittle it more. Teach her the pain of having your dignity trampled. That's the only way to soften your own pain.
What's with this embarrassing book? I'll admit I did have a little interest in fortune-telling as a girl. But isn't this going a bit too far? Magic? Ugh. You're one of those, aren't you? It's like in those cartoons where a girl says that something spell and transforms into a witch, right? What do you mean, Sailor Moon? You like those, don't you? How pathetic. Cackling Kasumi opened to a random page and showed it to the black suits. The black suits looked to and guffawed. That sneer didn't wound me, but I couldn't forgive it. After all, that sneer was ridiculing Maria One-chan. I don't hate Kasumi, but for forcing that unhealing anger and sadness on Kasumi, I cannot forgive the Black Witch. That Black Witch ate into Aunt Eva, Sumadera Kasumi, and Aunt Rosa, tormenting them for an eternity without letting their wounds be healed. I can't forgive her. I can't forgive the Black Witch.
Wow, this is just great. Magic for making candy from the sky, you say? What's this? Sprinkle water cleansed by the sun with sugar? Stick the magic staff in and then an incantation? What the hell? It hurts.
The black suits were also rolling around, guffawing. Then grinning, the Black Witch whispered something into Kasumi's ear. After glaring at me with a grin, Kasumi took that page. Kasumi grabbed hold of the page, tore it off, crumpled it up, and threw it away.
So cruel, that was Maria's magic. Oh, really? How sad.
It was one of the spells to summon happiness.
that Maria had made with Sakutaro. Anyone knows that making sugar water, coloring it and leaving it by the window isn't going to make candy fall from the sky. Would be cool if it did, though. But after repeating that every day, one time on her way home from school, she had found several pieces of candy scattered around. How happy must that miracle have made Maria One-chan? Didn't she treasure that candy, eating it during her night alone with Sakutaro to distract herself from her loneliness? Which of the probably 1,000 nights do you mean? That magic that One-chan had given birth to had been torn and thrown away and had disappeared. The whole miracle of happiness that magic had given birth to had been torn and thrown away.
Oh, this part's great too. Magic to make tonight's dinner cream croquette. What's next? Magic to make bell peppers taste good. That's not bad either, so stupid.
I wonder what she's gonna say when she finds the cruel stuff.
See that too? If only you just tear it more and more.
With a brutal loud laugh, the Black Witch made Maria One-chan's spells get torn out one after another. Magic of happiness was sneered at, torn, and thrown away.
Stop it, stop it. Don't defile Lady Maria's magic. Don't defile it with your filthy toxin.
Maman cried and yelled, but she had no way of reaching Kasumi.
Come on, why not defile it? Miracles of magic? Magic to bring happiness? No way, nothing like that exists. Don't you know that you can't heal pain and sadness without pushing it onto someone else? Hey, you also had those magic friend things, right? Somebody like Kasumi, open to that page. What's this? Magic friends? The Seven Sisters of Purgatory? What a creepy name. It says they can fly at awesome speeds and finish off the enemy. Angie, if you can use this kind of magic, shouldn't you use it right now? Foolish.
The page that wrote off the Seven Sisters of Purgatory was also heartlessly torn away. The page itself was just paper. It wasn't Maman's vessel or anything. But the tearing, denying toxin burned Maman from the inside. Maman's face twisted from that heat and pain.
Are you okay, Maman? Hold on. This much is no problem. It's not me, but Angie-sama who's in pain.
However, Maman's expression was twisted with unbearable anguish and humiliation.
Stop it, Black Witch. Why are you doing something like this? Why can't you use magic for happiness? Oh, you're a magic friend too, right? I'll defile you too. Somebody in Kasumi, look for this guy's page too, okay? What's this one? What's with this crappy scribble of a lion? Sakutaro? What a weird name. My best friend, it says. Really? This is your friend, a close friend? This lion is? Is it? It really is a crappy scribble. This ugly lion is totally you. To think you had something like this as a friend, that Ushidumi Maria kid's mind is so pathetic it's embarrassing. What a joke. She's like a moron. If only she'd just give up and die. You don't make fun of Maria. Stop it. Don't break it. No way.
There was a shrill sound. The page had been filthily ripped out. The picture of Sakutaro that One-chan had drawn was violently ripped in half. There he is! Cat is annoying me again. I have to open the page at the door real quick.
What a crappy picture. You all laugh too, okay?
A pair of the black suits laughed vulgarly and heartlessly trampled into a house that had been torn and thrown away.
Sakutaro, hang in there.
Yep, waifu-chan.
I'm not sad, I just can't stand it. I can't stand that Maria's being made fun of, and I can't do anything about it. To humans who can't see us, it's as though we don't exist. We can only interact with humans that need us. That's why we're furniture.
As Sakutaro and Maman supported each other, they crouched down sobbing. I couldn't stand it either. Those who can't see how wonderful the world of magic is can't understand it. You can't explain to humans who cannot understand, so it gets belittled. If you could show them it, but you can't, because in front of humans who are filled with magic-resisting toxin and who can't understand magic, magic cannot be used.
I really don't get it. From this delusional diary, I've got to assume that something's wrong with your head.
Well, you're one to talk. Have you looked in a mirror recently?
It really is fun to take a peek into your mind, you creepy child.
Both of you and Maria, and that stuffed animal in the furniture over there too, right?
Ah, good laugh. You don't have any friends, do you? You're always all alone, so stuffed animals are your friends? What a pitiable child. Don't worry, I understand. I know what it's like to live that way. So I'll accept it. You really are a pitiable child, right?
To you, it probably would look like something made by a pitiful child. That's right. If 100 people were to read One-chan's diary, 100 people would probably think the same thing. I used to be like that too. But you know, despite all of that, Maria One-chan summoned a world of happiness. Don't deny that magic, that happiness.
Such a stubborn child you are. Very well. This is the last one. I'll tear apart the source of the truly foolish magic that you and Maria believed in. Sumane Nakasumi, read this page, okay?
What is this colorful page? What is this? Magic to always be friends with my beloved mother.
Stop it, not that page.
This magic is really simple, isn't it? It looks like even I could do it. Even I could remember an incantation this short. Shall I give it a whirl?
It really is a short incantation, isn't it? Okay, give it a try. Let's have everyone spit it out.
With expressions that ridiculed it from the bottom of their hearts, the Black Witch and Kasumi tapered their mouth, and they said it aloud.
Ooh.
What? Well, that is sad. She's been saying that all the time for so many times because she actually just wanted this magic to work. Well, now I'm depressed. The black suit stared blankly, asking what the hell it was supposed to be. Then Kasumi answered, cackling.
This is supposed to be an incantation. Are you kidding me?
Come on, why don't you guys try too? Ooh.
The black suits imitated that moaning voice, making fun of it. That was the incantation for the magic that would let her always be friends with her beloved mother.
What the hell, how stupid. If you could make family relationships better by just by saying, ooh, the world would always be peaceful.
It wouldn't be peaceful because it would be filled with super loud many oohs.
Oh, a stupid moaning voice. Too bad that if you do this over and over again, people think you're a pathetic, stupid kid. Ah, you a moron.
Stop it, at least don't belittle that magic.
Yeah, the fact that she's saying ooh so many times all the time is kind of worrying if that is actually what it means. It was the day of a picnic when Maria One-chan and Aunt Rosa were alone. It was written that this was one of the top 5 happiest days of her life. One-chan was singing a song she just learned from her mama. Her mother had been delighted, but partway through Maria forgot the lyrics. But since she saw that her mother was so happy, she tried to sing until the very end, with ooh. Even though she had only pretended to know the lyrics, her mother had enjoyed it a lot. After that, ooh remained as an incantation to remember that day she had spent in fun and happiness with her mother. Of course, even though she seemed to find it funny at first, Aunt Rosa eventually tired of hearing it, and eventually started scolding One-chan when she said it. But to One-chan, it was a memory of a fun day that she'd never forget. So among the spells that Maria had created was the oldest and the first. Kasumi stuck her fingernails into that page too.
Stop it. Don't tear it. At least spare that page.
You know, by saying that, she's definitely gonna do it, so maybe you shouldn't.
No way.
With a shrill sound, a girl's world of happiness was erased.
Ooh, Is this your magic of happiness? Hilarious, hilarious. There's no way there could be magic to make you happy, right? Magic is made out of anger and hatred, right? Happiness is what you call the feeling of release you get only when you've pushed all the hatred you bear onto other people.
You know, if that's the stuff you're saying, you probably should see a psychiatrist.
The happiness you all are talking about is a phantom that doesn't show up outside picture books.
As Kasumi laughed her head off, she slammed the grimoire against the ground and stepped on it.
Can't stand it? Hey, you can't stand it, right? You want witches of happiness? If you can't stand it that much, why don't you show us? Show us your magic. If it exists, then you just have to show us, right? A witch who can't use magic isn't a witch. That's why we're the real witches. You're just brats trying to escape reality with a dream.
Then, if I can show you magic, will you believe in One-chan's magic?
Huh? Yeah, sure. I'll believe. If you can use magic and show me, that is. Let's see it, you stupid brat.
Silently, slowly, I stood up. Sensations of this cramped world, such as the pain in my body, felt truly trifling.
Oh, looks like you've still got enough energy to stand up, Miss Great Witch.
Now that you've stood up, what are you going to show us? Show us some magic.
Magic exists. Because I call it my AK-47 magic. Well, wouldn't that be cool?
What? What's this kid saying? Did you guys hear that? Silence! Isn't that interesting? You people always refuse to show this power of miracles because of the magic-resisting toxin. Disciple of the White Witch Maria, let's see some magic.
Do you have any clue how many humans have believed in that miracle before being betrayed?
Everyone believes. Everyone is betrayed and despairs. Despair. And they learn that true magic can only be gained by the power of black witches like me.
Hitting someone with their hatred is nothing more than a sin. That isn't magic. I'll show you real magic.
You...
The Black Witch winced slightly. However, Kasumi sneered at me even more.
Then let's have a look. So what kind of magic will you show us? Magic to make candy fall on the sky? Or else magic to make cookies multiply?
Hey, that rhymed. Could be the cool lyrics to a rap song.
What?
The instant I opened my eyes, a tremendous wind arose.
What is this all of a sudden?
Come, arise, the seven sisters of purgatory. There was a flash behind me, and in an instant, 7 pieces of high-level furniture were gathered there. It was a power that far surpassed the magical strength I had had in my prime. It was a power that matched even Maria, Onechan, and Beatrice.
The seven sisters of purgatory, right here. Who shall we murder? Angie-sama.
You said it once. Because I lacked magical power and resolve, I couldn't use you or your sisters. This isn't some cheap emotion like wanting to get back at my bullying classmates. In order to protect Maria Onechan's mariage sorcier's world, I now order you to show me the miracle of magic.
It's impossible, no matter what you try before such a massive toxin.
The 7 sisters also remembered what had happened in that classroom. If they could have obeyed Angie's order, they would have. However, surrounded by the toxin that runs thick in humans, they had been able to display the miracle of magic, and they remembered very well how deeply that had hurt Angie. But Angie spoke very quietly.
In that case, you all believe too.
Huh? Mariage sorcier was created to bring people happiness, and also to fight the Black Witch. In order to show that miracle to the foolish Black Witch, who denies the world that one of the founders, the Witch of Origins, Lady Maria, gave birth to, and in order to protect that world, believe in magic, in witches, in miracles right now. When Kasumi gave an order to the black suits, one of them took out a gun and pointed it at Angie.
You will show us magic, right? Then let's have it. Use magic to shoot this man down with a fireball or lightning or something. You get one chance. Show us before I count to 3, got it? If you can't, then you'd best prepare yourself, okay?
Shoot.
What's with this kid? She's lost it.
The black suit pointing the gun laughed at Angie's detached attitude.
Are you serious? This girl's lost her mind. In that case, get yourself shot. If only you just die.
Angie, it's impossible. You can't block bullets with magic.
No, there's nothing to be afraid of. Compared to my magic, to the 7 sisters of purgatory, bullets are nothing.
Angie-sama.
Maman was perplexed by Angie's absolute trust. If she could comply, she would have, on that day as well. But because she had been unable to do anything, she had hurt Angie.
You brat, if you can use magic, let's have a look right now. What's wrong? We're telling you to show us magic, right? Come on, no need to hold back, okay? Boom! Show me some magic.
The black suits jeered at her, but Angie simply concentrated her mind in silence.
Only you just shoot. He's even telling you to try and shoot, you guys.
This kid's already lost her mind from fear.
Bye-bye, Angie-chan.
Go and pretend to be a witch as much as you want in heaven.
Fire.
You sure?
Fire. Die, Angie. If you can do it, then give this magic of yours a try.
The black suit cocked the gun, didn't he already do that? And sneering, pulled the trigger. The sound of gunfire rang out, and the world stopped. Red spray scattered out, and chunks of flash flew.
What are you doing, Maman? Don't tell me you'd let a boorish pebble of a bullet like this reach Angie-sama.
Lucifer lined up the bullet perfectly, and with a single swing, sliced it. And in the chest of the black suit who had apparently fired the gun was a hole as big as a fist.
Every now and then, I get to go first.
Half of Leviathan's body was covered with blood, and a cold smile was on her face. Then slowly the pitiful prey that she had brought down fell over. What is going on?
You pierced a human. Idiot, do you still not believe in Oromasa's magic power? Are you kidding me? You materialized in front of this many humans? What is this? What?
Kasumi and the rest were flustered. Well, I mean, it's what you wanted, right? He certainly seemed to have fired his gun. However, it hadn't hit Angie, and why was the person who fired hurt instead?
This is magic. Great job, Leviathan.
I'm most honored. You foolish humans who dare oppose our master. Now is the time of judgment. Prostrate yourselves.
Why? You shouldn't be able to bring magic into the world of humans. They shouldn't be able to see magic, and they shouldn't be able to be touched by magic. Why?
Because this is true magic.
Ah! What are you people doing? Kill!
One of the black suits, who had finally come to his senses, took out his gun, readied it.
Like aRdW, the disrespectful pointing a gun barrel at our master. Die.
Those words were a requiem. The man's chest had already been pierced by Lucifer, who had become the stake of pride in an instant. With the sound of the second person falling, the black suits now realized for certain that their lives were in peril.
Save me.
The instant one of the black suits doubled over in shock and turned on his heels to escape from that place, the stake of sloth.
Be thankful that your violence against our master will be repaid with this alone.
Epic music.
Die.
In his right eye, a hole as big as a walnut opened and his head split. Belphegor was sprayed with blood and her face twisted demonically with the joy of being able to use her full power.
Who's that? Who's there? Where are you?
The black suits were flustered. Well, I think flustered is an understatement, pointing their guns in every direction, but they didn't understand what was happening. They knew that something terrifying was coming for them from somewhere, but they didn't know where.
Dumbass! The enemy's right before your eyes. The witch's furniture's after you.
But they couldn't see. Because they didn't believe in magic, they could not see. Just as the Black Witch said, Satan was standing boldly right in front of a black suit. However, the black suit couldn't see her at all.
Did you think humans could see our forms, and that they could follow us? Stupid humans. Time to pay a fool's price for forgetting your own awe of magic. What is this? What's going on?
You can't see it, because you have no love.
Impossible.
Yeah, you need love to murder people with stakes.
Even though there are so many humans here, even though the magic-resistant toxin is everywhere, why can you manifest your magic? Who are you?
A witch. Bitch. And unlike you, a real one.
Wow! Damn it, you bitch!
I said it first. As though announcing his candidacy for becoming the fourth victim, one of the black suits pointed his gun at Angie. And the trigger was... Angie glared at him coldly and simply ordered,
Die. Next one.
Satan.
Satan of Wrath, already right here. Blockhead. You think a single bullet could hit Angie Samaras now?
The stake of anger pierced and smashed the bullet fired by the black suit and continued straight on towards the man's face.
Know your foolishness and regret in hell. Die.
With a terrible explosive sound, the upper half of the man's head was smashed. Bathed in scattered flesh and blood, Angie quietly asked one more question.
Hey, Aunt Kasumi. Do you still not feel like believing in magic? There's no way something so ridiculous could exist. I won't accept it. There's no way magic exists. Yeah, that's right. There's no way magic exists. There's no way witches exist.
Magic exists, witches exist, who knew?
That's right. Magic exists. Witches exist. And in this world filled with anger and sadness, it can become the key that opens the door to the world of happiness by slaughtering people with stakes. I won't let someone like you deny that.
The key to the world of happiness lies in every person's hands. No one has any right to steal it away.
You pitiful human who cannot understand this. If there had been magic in your life, it would probably have turned out differently, becoming much more peaceful. When I think that in your entire life you were never able to meet with a true witch, I pity you. Kasumi let out a piercing scream. At the same time, two of the black suits came for me at once, thrusting their guns at my head, like they were trying to use me as a hostage against something their eyes couldn't see. Against the Seven Sisters of Purgatory, who had now reached the level of weapons, this was completely pointless.
Damn, where are you? Keep on attacking and this bitch is dead. Show yourself.
Since you asked, what the hell is he saying? His guts look so tasty too. Angie-sama, leave the next one to me. Go ahead, kill him.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy. Die.
The man's chest split and his guts poured out. This terrible way of dying threw the other man into a total panic. However, Asmodeus' form was already at his back,
Fatality.
grasping his neck and smiling obscenely.
What a cutie. Hey, where do you want to get pierced? Angie-sama, got any ideas? The head. Certainly, my master.
The final black suit had his head smashed by the stake of lust, and as his insides scattered, he twisted and fell. In the gruesome world where 6 people lay in a sea of blood, witch and human confronted each other. Monster kill.
Sumadera Kasumi, I sympathize with your sad life from the bottom of my soul. I'm willing to grant you magic that can seal up that unfillable hole in your heart.
Or create another hole in your heart if you refuse.
If you can believe that is. Don't be ridiculous. I will never accept something like this.
As Kasumi, who was scared out of her wits, stepped backwards, she picked up a handgun that someone had dropped. Then shaking, she pointed at Angie.
That's right, Kasumi. Shoot with that gun. Turn your hatred into a bullet and shoot. I kill you. If I don't kill you, I'll never be paid back for the life I've lived. Yes, kill. Pull the trigger. Take all of the anger and pain from your shitty life until now. Use it all against her. If you don't, you won't be released from your pain and anguish.
Stop it, Aunt Kasumi. You mustn't listen to the Black Witch. It's good her magic aims at bringing people happiness. Yeah, her aunt is gonna be so happy after this. Just read what was written in the chat.
I killed you. Because of your mother, my entire life has been a wreck.
In that case, my magic might be able to turn that life into something bright and peaceful, bit by bit, starting now. If you can believe in my magic and just have a change of heart, I'll be able to open the door to a new world for you.
There's no such thing. The salvation she speaks of is obviously just a fairy tale. Your life is going to be covered with thorns until you die anyway. Let her hear that cry of agony. You can't regain anything that was lost, right? Sumadera Kasumi.
That's right, you might not be able to regain anything. However, I know you'll be able to create something new, so Aunt Kasumi, throw that gun away. I might be able to teach you too about a world of happiness. Can't you have Twitch on your cell phone and watch on the toilet?
I know, because your mother anyway. I was forced to marry her fiancé in her place.
Oh well, that's gotta suck.
That was a man I swore I'd spend my life with, and I was forced to break up with him. You think you understand how I felt when I was supposed to be wet in your mother's place, and was held by a man I had barely even talked to? I wanted to kill her.
I mean, I understand that, kind of. But yeah. Not healthy the way you went down.
But Nisan was just went and died on her own. That's why I'll kill you. Otherwise my thornful life will never end.
From Kasumi's eyes, tears of passion dripped down. So pitiable. This person's tears were so clear and beautiful, but for that very reason she hadn't been able to fully withstand her sad pain, and had been given no choice but to listen to the Black Witch's temptation.
So sad.
In that case, I'll at least release you, your soul, for all eternity, and free you from the bonds of resentment. That might be the only bit of charity I can give right now.
You should have me, Angie.
Goodbye, Aunt Kasumi. Take a long rest in a quiet world. I no longer feel anger or hatred for you. I just want to let your soul rest in peace. Kasumi's handgun spat fire. Slowly that bullet continued through a world frozen to the utmost limit, aiming for Angie's forehead. Notice how that's written in all caps now.
Mammon. Yeah, Mammon of Greed right here. Thanks. Huh. Because I met you and Sakutaro, I was able to understand everything.
Angie.
Look away, Sakutaro. Mammon, release that woman and protect the honor of Maria Saucier. Yes, prepare yourself, Sumadera Kasumi.
Even though the world was frozen, the stake of greed flashed like lightning and had already gotten behind Kasumi. If there's any virtue in you, we'll meet again on the mountain of purgatory.
Die.
The upper half of Sumadera Kasumi's head was smashed, her cage of flesh was shattered, and she was finally released. I guess that didn't work out the way Kasumi intended it. Next is you, the Black Witch. By now I think even the fact that you look like Aunt Eva is inexcusable to her.
If my form still looks like Tsushiyumiya Eva, that means you still haven't been able to forgive me inside yourself. I understand, Angie. Even you want to be released from your thorn-filled life more than anything. In that case, I thought of something interesting. I'll show you magic as well. I won't be the one to kill you.
With the worst of smiles on her face, the Black Witch changed her form into something like a black mist, or else a vast swarm of black flying insects which began to swirl around me. Then that black mist began to gather bit by bit, shaping itself into the form of a human.
What's this supposed to be? You've got at least a vague idea, don't you? It's the woman you hated and despised the most. The woman who hated and despised you the most.
When the black mist cleared, over there was Aunt Ava's form as she had been during her life. Her hands were holding a gun. Aunt Ava died.
Long time no see, Angie. I've come back from hell to kill you.
Aunt Ava glared at me with a mad laugh.
But I'm not that surprised. Aunt Ava was that kind of person. I imagine my funeral came as quite a relief to you, right? I feel the same since I'll never have to see your face again. But I had just one regret. And this is it.
Killing me? Was that your last request? How pitiful. Even after death, my aunt wasn't released from her pain.
The Black Witch's power is itself the source of my magic. Anger and hatred taught me how to work hard and persist. Completely different from this magic to escape reality that you speak of.
The magic you speak of is nothing more than stress reduction through outbursts of anger. Our magic is different. It can remake the entire world. It's in a totally different class than your wicked magic.
In that case, let's settle which is the victor right now, black or white. You see my black magic miracle, reviving you after death and pointing a gun at you like this. How exactly do you intend to stop that with a miracle of white magic?
Well, I mean, we already did it 6 times, didn't we?
I've surrounded you with a magic-resisting toxin. You can't call the Seven Sisters anymore.
Oh, okay.
That miracle just now won't occur again.
Having it occur despite all that is why it's called magic.
Okay.
Maman lent me her power. But Maman didn't respond. She didn't appear. Certainly, as she had said, the magic-resisting toxin had burned everything up like a wasteland parched by a blazing sun. This might be a little tough. A cheater indeed.
It's useless to call out, never again. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory will never answer.
And being able to call them even so is what makes it magic, right?
How pitiful. So long, Angie. The few days we spent together were fun in their own way. This is goodbye. Aren't you glad that the end of the line for you turned out to be this place?
Yeah, seriously, how thoughtful of you.
Thanks. Then this is farewell.
The barrel of the gun rose slowly, so that you could see all the way down it. Then, the trigger was slowly... At that moment, the gun exploded. It wasn't that it fired, it burst. You're kidding me. In shock inside a frozen space, Ava looked at the ruptured gun. When time melted, the fragments would probably smash into her face all at once.
Mammon of Greed, right here.
You're kidding me? Behind Ava's back, Mammon stood. She had already penetrated the target I had given her, which was the gun.
Is this enough magic for you, Aunt Ava?
Angie.
Then time melted. The fragments of the burst gun exploding and exploding gunpowder burned about her, burned her face. Letting out a shrill scream, she covered her face and rolled around. It was pitiful.
Your luck was bad. This is game over, Aunt Ava.
I signaled to Mammon, so that Ava would be freed quickly from the pain of her burned face as she writhed around.
Thank you, Mammon. This time I want to apologize again and from the bottom of my heart for calling all of you powerless on that day in the classroom. You were excellent furniture for protecting witches. I'm the one that's grateful. I feel truly honored at being able to meet a good witch, a good master in the end, and at being able to fulfill my duty as furniture.
Mammon had understood. This would be the final job I'd give her.
Mammon quietly walked up to me. Then she looked down at Ava. Aunt Ava, thanks for sticking with me for so long. This is farewell. Have a nice dream. See you in hell.
Cool. I like how she said cool back. Then the light sound of her forehead being bored into rang out.
The battle of gunpowder, smoke, and fury of white and black magic ended. I get the feeling it was a long, truly a long journey, and the world slowly sank into darkness.